Greetings, everyone. Let us settle ourselves and prepare ourselves for worship. Our prelude music today is the opening section of Saturn by Sleeping at Last. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Tēnā koutou e te whānau o Auckland Unitarians. Tēnā koutou e ngā manuhiri. Nau mai haere mai ki tēnei whare karakia. Welcome, welcome, welcome to us all. Welcome, Auckland Unitarians, and welcome to any guests joining us today. Welcome to those watching the recording at a later time. Welcome to this online space made sacred by the attention and focus of the community of Auckland Unitarians. Consider this time together a sanctuary for the soul, a haven of peace and hope. It is a time to reflect on what it means to be human, what it means to be connected to our fellow humans, and how we spend our time and energy on this earth. I'm Alix Geard, originally from Tāmaki Makaurau, but now living further south into Whanganui-a-Tara, where it's currently very windy. I'll be leading our service today as we gather to mark the end of the old year by the Gregorian calendar and contemplate the beginning of a new year. We expected that many of us would be on holiday today, along with our musicians. This service will therefore be more akin to our online services, so some of us are gathered in the church where Ruby Johnson and John DeLeo are this week's Keepers of the Flame. First, though, we have our opening hymn. Our opening words are the Remembrance Invocation by Lynn Cox. Welcome, you who approach this time as a journey toward the horizon, the beginning of the next chapter, seeking all of the insights and opportunities the new day offers. Welcome, you who live out your values with passion, who have a drive for transforming the world toward gratitude and healing, who are ignited by purpose. Welcome, you who ride the waves of life with serenity, you who show courage in facing the depths of true emotion, you who create and change and flow with time. Welcome, you who are here to seek the center, you who wish to be grounded in community, you who call our attention to the present moment. Welcome all from every direction, with all of your gifts and your limits, with all that the past week and the past year have given you. We find ourselves here on the threshold of a new day, some would say a new year, at a time when the past and the present are stirred together in the cauldron of what we shall become. Today we remember our beloved dead. Today we give thanks to the people and the forces that helped us to reach this moment. Today we gather with the saints and sinners and souls who have been, are being, and will be this congregation as we open up a new path to the future. Time for a chalice lighting. If you have a chalice or candle at home, join with us in lighting it. And Ruby or John, could I ask you to light the church's home chalice? The following words are On the Brink of a New Year by Lois van der Leer. We light this chalice on the brink of a new year, letting go of what has been, open and hopeful for what may come, renewed, restored, ready to live life fully anew. May we move forward with intention. Will you now join with me in stating the covenant we share? Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is the sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow in harmony. Thus do we covenant with each other. Our next hymn, this time I'll tell you what it is number 362, Rise Up, O Flame. It's another round, and it's probably going to be another one to sit and listen to rather than to join in, although of course you are all most welcome to join. Good morning, community of Auckland Unitarians. Kia ora koutou. As we gather on this last Sunday of the year, New Year's Eve, we find ourselves between times, standing on the bridge that connects the past and the future. Today, our theme is reflections and resolutions, a time to look back at the footprints we've left on the path of the past year and to gaze forward with hope and intention into the uncharted territory of the coming year. There are cliches for this time of year. We might as well make use of them. Janus, the two-headed god of doorways, transitions, and January, looks both back and forward. I encourage us all to take some time to think, to feel, to breathe, to examine, and to gather ourselves together as we move into the new year. In Maori worldviews, the concept of whakapapa speaks to the interconnectedness of all things, the understanding that each step we take is woven into the fabric of our story. As Unitarians and Unitarian Universalists, we embrace a diverse tapestry of beliefs and experiences, and today we come together to celebrate the rich whakapapa of our shared humanity. Reflection is a powerful practice that transcends cultural boundaries, inviting us to journey into the recesses of our hearts and minds. Let us pause for a moment of collective reflection, contemplating the highs and lows, the joys and challenges that have marked our personal and shared experiences throughout the past year. In this sacred space, let us honor the diversity of our individual stories and perspectives, knowing that each story contributes to the mosaic of our community. Looking back, we may encounter moments of triumph and moments of struggle, times of joy and times of sorrow. As we reflect, let us remember that our experiences are not isolated. They are threads in the larger tapestry of human existence. In the spirit of shared whakapapa, we recognize the profound interconnectedness that binds us together, fostering empathy and understanding. In the spirit of reflection, let us also acknowledge the lessons we've learned, the growth we've experienced, and the resilience that resides within us. Our journey, like the ebb and flow of the tide, is marked by constant change, and in each wave of change there is an opportunity for transformation and renewal. I begin my reflections on the past year with a personal note. The first service I led with Auckland Unitarians was on the first day of this year. Under Ted Zorn's guidance, I learned about worship templates and how to use them. I spent the Christmas break at my in-laws' place trying to pull together the musings for the service, with much the same stress and productivity as I'd previously written undergraduate essays, sliding them in on deadline. That is still the case. My message then was that the search for truth and meaning from our fourth principle involves both finding things and making them. I talked about calendars and holiday celebrations, and how we have all these different ways of picking a point in our planet's circuit around the sun and saying, that's where one cycle ends and a new one begins. Astronomy is there for us to find. New Year timing and celebrations are things we invent. Sharing those celebrations is one of the ways we bond. I asked you to add matariki to your cycle of celebrations of the year. Did you do that? How was it for you? Since that first service of the year, we've had another year of changes and challenges. The headlines, and the headlines have included armed conflicts, especially but not only affecting Ukraine and Gaza, national elections and a change in government here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, weather events, especially the storms and flooding intensified by climate change that Cyclone Gabriel brought to the Auckland and Tairāwhiti regions, strong and emotive movements to turn gender identity into a wedge issue to divide us against our neighbours. Many of us have also dealt with illness, ourselves and in our families, communities and workplaces. The year after that New Year service, Ted led a service where the first half of the musing was written by ChatGPT. I thought it was cheating. I also thought it was fascinating, and Ted was very open about this. It was the final nudge for me to start exploring large language models, or LLMs. We've heard about LLMs often this year as generative AI under names like ChatGPT, Bard, and Copilot. It's troubling and intriguing, and here, these days when I have a blank page and I'm stuck for how to start something, I'll fairly often use generative AI to give me a first draft that I can then correct and wrestle into shape. And yes, I've used it here. Having our refurbished church organ reinstalled was a bright thread this year. We've discussed the transformative work the Unitarian Universalists in America are doing to reformulate the UU principles as values. I'm increasingly working back and forward between the models, getting familiar with what the new framework brings as we approach our current challenges. For us as a church community, a strong strand this year has been our minister Clay Nelson's illness, retirement, and death. I know Clay came into this year not wanting to retire. Ministry was an important part of who he was, and he wanted to keep that active for as long as possible. I'm thankful that the services around his retirement gave us the chance to acknowledge Clay's work and influence, and how he impacted us all. We miss him and grieve him. And also this year, we've kept connection with family and friends. We've made new connections within our communities. We've learnt new things. My achievements haven't made headlines, but I've stepped into a new work role, completed my level 1 and level 2 Reo Māori courses, and learnt the basics of how to weave with harakeke. And I've stepped well out of my comfort zone to lead a handful of these services with you. Many of us have similar stories of challenges and connections. The reflections questions for discussion at the end of this service will be, do you have business from this last year to address and resolve? How might you do that? I've worded this with might, a bit gently, to encourage us to explore possibilities, but if it's clear to you, take note of how you will do that. Now, as we stand on the threshold of the new year, let us turn our gaze forward with a spirit of hopeful anticipation. The coming year is a blank canvas, awaiting the brushstrokes of our intentions, a book yet to be written. This is the time for resolutions, not the rigid kind that set us up for disappointment, but the kind that inspire us to evolve, to stretch beyond our perceived limitations. Let our resolutions affirm the values that anchor us. Let them be commitments to cultivate compassion, justice, and love. In our diversity, we find strength. In our shared aspirations, we find unity. As Unitarians and Unitarian Universalists, we are called to engage in a lifelong process of discovery and transformation. Let our resolutions be guideposts on this sacred journey, pointing us toward a more compassionate, just, and interconnected world. In the spirit of aroha, the Māori concept of love and compassion, let us resolve to extend kindness not only to ourselves, but to every being we encounter on this shared earth. Our resolutions, like seeds planted in fertile soil, have the power to blossom into a garden of positive change, nurturing the interconnected web of life that sustains us. As we embark on the journey into the unknown of the coming year, let us do so with open hearts and minds. The road ahead may be winding with unexpected twists and turns, but let us walk it with courage, knowing that we are not alone. Our community, like a supportive wind at our backs, propels us forward, and the shared values that connect us serve as our compass. The US Unitarian Universalist Association is gathering new worship resources. In the cover notes, they ask these 3 questions, which I found interesting. What seeds are you planting for the new year? How are you weaving your magic into your relationships with others? How can we center beauty and goodness and love in all that's ahead? The resolutions questions for discussion at the end of the service will be, what would you like there to be more of in the world? How might you encourage that? In closing, let us embrace the beauty of reflection and resolution as integral parts of our human experience. In looking back, we honor the lessons of the past. And in looking forward, we cast a vision for a future shaped by our shared aspirations. May the tapestry of our whakapapa, woven with threads of reflection and resolution, be a testament to the strength and resilience of our community here. As we stand on this threshold together, let our collective spirit be a beacon of light, illuminating the path ahead with the promise of a new year filled with growth, connection, and love. Aroha nui, much love to you. Our closing hymn is hymn number 298, Wake Now My Senses. Now it's time to extinguish the chalice. Ruby, will you please attend to the chalice in the church? We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. That brings us to our closing words which are the ones I wrote for the first Sunday of this year. Go now, as one day passes to the next, as 1 year passes to the next. Gather and craft the meanings of your year, great and small, shared and private. Help one another, bring justice, live joyfully. Now, although we are without our musicians today, we do have a postlude. It continues the music from our prelude, which is Saturn by Sleeping at Last. This is one of my favourite songs for melancholy and wonder joined together. After the postlude, there will be questions and the opportunity to go into discussion groups. So if you don't want to join those groups, then probably slip out at the end of the postlude. These are our questions if you'd like to stay for discussion. It may take me a minute to organise you into breakout rooms, so please be patient.